Hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Schwa Mill, our Saturday show, where you can send in your American English pronunciation and we take a look at it and try to give some suggestions to help you achieve a more natural sound in American English. Our goal is to help you craft your accent. My name is Jeff. I will be your guide for the next hour or so, hour, 2 hours. We'll see how long it takes to get through everyone's files. And in fact, there is still time to send in your pronunciation files if you're interested in trying to get your own accent analyzed, get some suggestions for how you're saying things in order to achieve a more natural sound. So I just want to walk you through the process of how to do that. We use a website called vocaroo.com. But actually, before we even do that, this is the document. So it's a Google Doc. I'm going to post this into the chat in case you want to send in your own pronunciation. For instance, I see Rosaura's back. Great to see you again, miss. Hope you are doing well. This is our Google Doc. So, and I'm sorry, when I type stuff in, it might appear twice. My apologies. But this is basically where you can start sending in your files. So you can see already some people have done that, which is great. Hello also to Shok checking in. Great to see you again as well, miss. And once you are in the Google Doc, you're going to notice up top there are directions that say you have some different options. You can go to vocaroo.com. Let's give an idea what that actually looks like. The very first time you log into the site, you're probably going to see this big fat record button. So if I press this, you're going to see it starts recording. It's going to save it for a minute. I'm going to click save and share. It gives me a link. Copy the link. And I post it right there. Bam. So now I can get some audio of myself if so desired. So those are all the steps you need, and you can send in pretty much any sentence if you just want to practice saying some words. We have some people doing that sometimes. It's really up to you. I recommend saying something that you use in your daily life so that way we can keep it practical for your own English usage. But, do what's best for you. Rosario says, nice to see you. Likewise. Thanks for joining me on a Saturday. A Saturday night, at least this time. I believe you're again down south. Hello to Zabeta checking in. Hope you're staying safe and everything, miss. Great to see you again. Helps. Hello also to my mom checking in, who's also greeting everyone too. Be nice to my mom, people. She is a wonderful woman. All right, so those are again all the steps you need to send in your own pronunciation file so we can hear you. And of course, as we're going through pronunciation files and listening to people, if you have a question that's related to American English, or whether it's even grammar related, vocab related, or even life related, sometimes we're even giving out like relationship advice and things like that. Things happen. So if there's anything that I can do to try to help you out, you can let me know. We'll also be talking about some other opportunities to just kind of push your English to the next level as we go through the stream. But I do want to get a couple of pronunciation files in first before we do that. So I think that kind of runs through all the basic information that I need to give. So let us begin taking a look at your own accents. Oh, let me add myself there, right? Again, it's not little, it's more little.
The G host was class.
Are you feeling that here, or here? As you can see, I put on my headphones. That way I will be able to hear you and everything like that. Let's share our screen again and get listening to some files. I'll be sure to also share my audio so you guys will be able to hear what I hear. Okay, so nice mix as always. And again, we'd love to hear you as well. I'm going to start off with... Let's actually start off with this last one here. And I didn't load them up beforehand because I'm trying to remember to do timestamps. So just again, I know we were at 04:33. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Take a listen to this first file.
The past week was so productive for me. I have done tons of things. I have worked. I have helped my parents with different things that they asked me to help with. Plus, I worked on my pronunciation, and I think I've made some progress there. And I really hope that, God willing, the next week will be the same or maybe even better.
Okay. So Elchin, it sounds like he's going off the cuff this time. I don't think this one was like a. I hope it wasn't like a 2 hour endeavor. Sometimes I know he spends a lot of time working on these files, which is great. But I know it also takes a lot of effort.
The past week was so productive for me.
The past week was so productive for me.
The past week was so productive for me.
We actually went up a little bit on which is good.
This week was so productive for me.
Was so productive for me. Like was so productive for me. I think this sounds fine. I don't really have issue with the vowel sounds.
The past week was so productive for me.
I think in general the it's flowing. It seems to be continuing with the breath of things, which is great. I would say that one thing you could take a look at is if you wanted to take it up a notch, you could increase the range of pitches even more, just to kind of add a little bit more nuance, a little bit more contrast.
The past week was so productive for me.
It goes so like the past week was so productive for me. Like the past week was so productive for me. Like the past week was so productive for me. Something like that. Notice what I'm also doing is like a falling intonation on the me. And again, you might use a rising intonation to imply that there's more information coming. I get that. That makes sense. But you could also use a falling intonation too. Like, this is the first thing that you're saying to someone. They kind of imply that you're going to, or assume that you're going to expand on it. So I think you could play around with the intonation there if you so chose. But I do agree with my mom. My mom says, "Nice, Elchin. Sounds great." And in general, I agree. Move on to the second part here.
I have done tons of things. I have worked.
Okay, so you're using a lot of, you're using some present perfect phrases, which is great.
Productive for me. I have done tons of things. I have worked. I have helped my parents with.
One thing, again, it's not something that you have to do, but something I would consider suggesting is trying to incorporate more contractions into your speech. I have worked, I have done. I just feel like in general in American English, it's going to be way more common to use the contraction. So I've worked, I've done.
Productive for me. I have done tons of.
I have done. It's just a little choppy. Right? I have done versus like I've done. I've done.
I have done tons of things.
I've done tons of things. I do like your pitch there on tons. Tons is a word, like tons of something. Tons does tend to get the stress there, so I do like your use of that pattern.
I have done tons of things. I have worked. I have helped my parents with.
I've worked. I've helped my parents.
Worked. I have helped my parents with.
Like your pitch. I've worked. Like raising the pitch. I've helped my parents.
I have worked. I have helped my parents with.
I have helped my parents. Again, that drop down. I have helped my parents. That sort of pattern is very common. Nice work there.
Different things that they asked me to help with. I have worked. I have helped my parents with different things that they asked me to help with.
That part right there feels a little choppy. You're giving me a lot of stresses. Listen to all the stresses you're giving me.
I have helped my parents with different things that.
Help my parents with different things. It's not stressing things.
They asked me to help with.
They asked me. So it almost sounds like you're stressing asked. And then helped with, to help with. Different things they have asked me to help with. So it's just like da 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 da. So it's like you're just kind of like constantly punching me with like different stresses and things like that. You probably could have gotten away with fewer stresses, and that would have allowed you more chance to kind of flow.
I have done tons of things. I have worked. I have helped my parents with different things that they asked me to help with.
Like I've helped my parents, different things they asked me to help with. I've helped my parents with different things they've asked me to help with, something like that. Notice that I'm able to kind of just flow a lot more by removing some of those stresses. Just kind of something to consider for that moment there.
Things that they asked me to help with. Plus, I worked on my pronunciation, and I think I've helped with. Plus, I worked on my pronunciation.
Plus, I've worked with my pronunciation. I think you're doing a good job of getting to the lower pitches on the sections that are reduced. You can play around with some of those higher pitches a little bit because you're still staying a little bit. It doesn't sound flat, but we're never going super high. So I would maybe try to take that like plus. They've asked me to help with plus.
Asked me to help with Plus, I
because again, you're just kind of staying in the same pitch. You're just staying in the same range. Oh no, I lost my camera because the battery died and I forgot to plug it in. Oh well. So besides that, I would have gone higher in plus. One of the things is that so in English, in any language, languages operate on things called like thought groups. Thought groups are basically places where you can pause when you're talking, and it sounds natural. So it's basically all those words that kind of go together before you need to breathe or pause or break or whatever. And one of the things that we see in American English is that when you're switching from one thought group to the next, is we can change the pitch structure. So for instance, all the things they've helped me to ask me to help with. So that's my original thought group they've asked me to help with. That's one thought group. And then we get the plus, right? Plus, so now I'm in a new thought group. And what I would say is that whenever you're switching from one thought group to the next, you have the ability to change the pitch structure they've asked me to help with. So I can go higher in my next thought group and not necessarily sound stressed. I can if the next word is stressed, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Help asked me to help with plus. So now I'm in a higher register for my next thought group. To give another example of this, like today I went shopping and then I found this great deal. Today I went shopping and then I found this great deal. Like I went shopping and then do you hear how everything just kind of shifted higher because I'm in a new thought group? So this is something that I would encourage you to kind of play around with more. I would have taken the plus a little higher. Besides that,
plus I worked on my pronunciation, and I think I've made
and that's plus I worked on my pronunciation. So that's your thought group. Plus I worked on my pronunciation. So this next part that you add, I would use a different register for. I would either go higher or lower in pitch. Probably higher.
I worked on my pronunciation, and I think I've made some progress there.
And I think I made some progress there. I worked on my pronunciation, and I think I made some progress there. And see again, where I just shifted all the pitches there, or I could go lower. Worked on my pronunciation. I think I made some progress there. So you can hear the difference in pitch just between thought groups.
And I really hope that, God willing, the next week will be the same, or maybe even better.
And so that's probably the one thought group where you did shift things, and I really hope it's like you shifted everything higher. Great. Okay. So I would just kind of play around some of those pitch things. I'm not hearing a whole lot of like vowel sound things. Let me listen to the last half again.
Plus, I worked on my pronunciation, and I think I've made some progress.
My mom notes that she likes how pronunciation sounded. I also like what happened after pronunciation. You're really keeping the breath flowing.
And I think I've made some progress there. And I really hope that, God willing, the next
I would start a little too soon.
I think I've made some progress. Plus, I worked on my pronunciation, and I think I've
pronunciation and I think I've you can hear how the breath continues to flow even after pronunciation. He's finished saying that pronunciation and I think I've so that's another great thing. Pronunciation might be the end of the thought group, but we just keep flowing and that's great. You never want to stop that breath. Yes, Alchin, those are kind of my main comments there. Just a quick note from my mom. I like the animation in your voice. Alchin, yes, I like the stress on tons. If you use more contractions, would that lead to stress or emphasis on other words? This sounds like a great question. I think it would have been the same stresses. Honestly, I don't think like if you used a contraction for I've instead of I have, I think that wouldn't have changed the stressed words because the stress, when you're using like have, the auxiliary verb have, the stress is usually on the participle that follows it.
of things I have worked.
Notice you stress worked. I've worked. So compare I have worked versus I've worked. You're still stressing worked.
I've helped my parents with.
I've helped my parents. I have helped my parents. I've helped my parents. Regardless, you're still stressing parents. So I don't think that, switching to a contraction would necessarily completely change your stress patterns, personally. All right, Elchin, I think that gives you a lot to chew on there. Thank you so much for sending that file. And again, guys, if you have pronunciation questions, feel free to pass them along. And again, there is still plenty of time to send in your pronunciation. This is the document where you can do it if you're watching this. And maybe you're watching this on the replay, or you're watching this in the future. So, hello from past Jeff. We use this document every single week in the Schwa Mill. So, save this document, and we usually update it on Thursday or Friday. So then if you're watching this in the future and you're like, oh, I want to send in my pronunciation, well, what you can do is wait till about Thursday or Friday when it's cleared, and then you can send in your file, and then we'll have it for the next time so we can give you feedback. And let me know, guys, if you're watching this. Is this your first time watching, 20th time watching, 100th time watching? Let us know. Yeah, we've done a lot of episodes. We switched to a new channel, but it's still the same show. And I think that's all the highlights I have there. Let's maybe do one more file before we take a look at some things. This first one from Shok. Look, time is 16:05. Okay, Shok has also sent us the text. I mentioned a leech, so that's exciting. Here is the text from what you're about to hear.
Hi, Mikey. Oh no, trigger, no! The elevator is going up! Cut the leash!
Is it leech or leash? Or the cord? Is it the elevator? Like cut the cord on the elevator? Because they don't want the elevator to go up. But regardless.
Hi, Mikey. Oh no, trigger, no! The elevator is going up! Cut the leash!
Okay. As always, very dramatic, Shok. I think you do a fantastic job as always, just conveying emotion. So what are some things that are happening here?
Hi, Mikey.
Okay. Shok says that the leash is for the dog. Okay, so like triggers in the elevator is going up. I wonder if this is that video. Is this from a video? This sounds, I feel like I've seen videos of things like this happening. Just quick note, it'll be leash with an S. Let's see. Leash. So basically the dog doesn't choke as the elevator goes up. The dog's in the elevator, the leash is stuck, so the dog can suffocate if you're not careful. Okay.
Hi, Mikey.
Look at that tone shifts. Like, hi, Mikey. Like that drop and like the Mikey, just so much conveys a lot of emotion there very effectively. Almost slightly sinister in a way.
Hi, Mikey.
Hi, Mikey. Like it's like they want to say something not necessarily nice to Mikey here with that. I like it. Very, very effective.
Hi, Mikey. Oh no, trigger, no!
Oh no, like again, like that shift from oh no, that first oh no, really, really fast. Very effective, conveying again that sense of like panic or urgency. Your O sounds very open, lots of breath coming through. Okay.
Hi, Mikey. Oh no, trigger, no!
Like your trigger sounds pretty good.
Oh no, trigger, no!
It's like the G doesn't sound overly strong. It's very easy for words like that, you know, trigger, and things like that. Or for that short I sound to become like an E, like trig versus treg. So I like what you're doing there.
The elevator is going up!
Like the elevator is going up. Again, vowel sounds and things are pretty open here.
Oh no, trigger, no! The elevator is going up!
The elevator. I like how you're linking from the onto elevator. The elevator. That's great.
The elevator is going up!
Also, like the elevator is going up. Like the elevator is going. Just like the elevator is going. So you can hear like the shifting and the pitches as we're going through, but there's also linking. You know, you're attaching consonants onto your vowels. It's like the elevator is going up. Some nice linking there.
The elevator is going up!
and then that higher pitch on up. It's like we start really low. The elevator's going up, like the elevator's going up. It's like those just that range is very nicely done.
Got the leash!
And even there, we go up even higher, crazy high pitches, which is great. For the situation is these super high pitches aren't necessarily things that are frequent or not something that you're doing every single time you're talking, but you do want them to be a resource for you. Whether you naturally have a low pitch, like if you're a guy with a low pitch, but even some women with low pitches too, these high pitches you still want to be able to touch on a little bit in your own speech. It conveys a sense of urgency that if you have a lower pitch, you lose.
Got the leash!
Okay. So again, going up. Notice how high leash is there. Like cut the leash, like cut the leash, like cut the leash, or however you want to do it.
Got the leash!
I think it's also nice. I want to pay attention to that schwa sound and cut.
Elevator's going up. Got the leash!
Cut. It's a little tricky because the stress is on leash. But based on what I'm hearing, I'm not distracted by cut. I was a little bit nervous that as you go higher in pitch, it's easier to also kind of go higher in your placement as well. But I feel like in general with cut, we're staying appropriate. It still sounds like cut. The emphasis falls on leash. I'm not distracted by cut, so those are all great things. You could tell if cut, the placement's too high, it turns into like cut, like cut the, versus like cut the lead, cut the, so making sure you're staying within a sound. But yeah, those are honestly my major comments there. I think this sounds pretty good.
Hi, Mikey. Oh no, Trigger, no! The elevator is going up. Got the leash!
Yeah, great. Shok, if you have questions for me about anything there, let me know. It would be nice to kind of hear this a little bit faster because you're breaking this into, very kind of like a lot of short sections all combined. So just, some considers also kind of joining things together more, because when you're talking, obviously you won't have these opportunities for these longer pauses. All right. But yeah, I think that was great to hear. Thank you so much, Shok. I appreciate you as always. Some quick things here. Okay. Yeah, at least for the dog tramping the door, elevator going up, if she feels worried. Exactly. Yeah, 100%. And I feel like I've seen videos, multiple videos. I mean, this is not just like one person that this has happened to. Yeah, so anytime you're going in elevators with dogs that are on leashes, yeah, definitely make sure your dog is with you because these things do happen. Yeah. Let us know, Shok, if the dog was okay. Did they cut the leash or did they get the leash off or figure something out? Or if it has a bad ending, you don't have to tell us. And then my mom is agreeing with a lot of those comments there. Okay, but before we take a look at our next file, I just want to give some quick reminders, guys. If you're first of all, if you are enjoying this stream, if you find this helpful for your own pronunciation, I know maybe we're not listening to your pronunciation files, but there's still plenty you can take away and apply to your own speech. So one of the ways that you can help me out if you're finding this helpful is just by liking the stream. And if you know other people learning American English, then you can pass it along to them. But there are also other opportunities too, like maybe this besides the stream, you're trying to get some even more practice for your English. Well, just want to kind of let you know about some different opportunities we have for all different levels. You may be, look, I know we're in what many people consider to be a recession in many places around the world. So if you're just kind of look for like cost effective, cheap resources, it doesn't get better than YouTube, right? So definitely that's what our whole YouTube channel is about. Our main channel is youtube.com/Fluent American, and we cover all sorts of topics. But besides that, we have some other options too. So for instance, for $5 a month, you can join our Telegram group where every single day I post a group of words to say or some sentences, and then you can reply with audio, kind of like today, and you get feedback. Okay, so that happens every single day in our Telegram group. Again, $5 for the month gives you access. Another option that we have is Mission English. So for $30 a month, you actually end up getting 30 to 40 classes because we do 2 live streams every day as part of our Mission English program. So, for instance, on Monday, we meet at 1:30 p.m. New York time. Then we meet again at 8 o'clock p.m. New York time. And we've spread these out for different time zones too, because we want to make sure everyone has a chance to join us. So, for instance, if 8 o'clock p.m. New York works well for you, we do that on Wednesday, and we do that on Thursday. Maybe you need that morning time. So, for instance, 9:30 a.m. Well, we meet on Tuesday, we meet on Wednesday, we meet on Friday. These are live stream classes that you can join me. So you join me on screen. I'm here. You're like over here, or where my dialogue screen is there. And we basically just do exercises together. So that's just another option that we have in our Mission English program. And besides that, we also, of course, offer some private lessons as well, just for the current rate. One last opportunity, just because it's newer, is we also have the first video course, which goes through what I believe are the 4 concepts you need to achieve an accent in American English. And so, because of that, it has a very, very, very fancy name, which I hope you enjoy. It is called 4-Step Accent, the 4-Step American English. And basically, what the program is, or this video course, is it walks through what I believe are, again, the 4 keys to achieving a net American English. Those keys are placement, breath, pitch, and vowel sounds. All these are things that we've already mentioned a lot today, but it just goes into more details. It's a course that's already made, so you can watch it at your own pace. And those are the exercises. It was from a live workshop that I did with students. So you can hear me, but you also hear some other student examples. Each of the students speaks a different language. So you're getting all kinds of different backgrounds and things like that. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, you want to find out what are the 4 concepts you really need. How do you improve your breath, your pitch, your placement, and your vowel sounds, weaken your consonant sounds? This is the video course for you. The pre-order sale has gone. So this is the full price for the course. But we would love to work with you in that aim as well. And of course, as we're going through the live stream, if you have any questions for me, be sure to let us know. All right. And Shok lets us know there is a good, happy ending to this. Thank God. She says the elevator opens again. So we're very thankful to hear that. Okay. Let's see what our next file is. Hello to Edward. Thanks for checking in, sir. I know that the time is not always ideal, but it's great to see you. Hope you're doing okay. We're going to go back and take a look at our next file. Okay. So we've done 2. I'm just going to go right down to our next one. We are currently at 28:17. Oops, I am sharing my screen, but not sharing my audio. Give me 1 second to adjust that. While I'm doing that, like what you're hearing, let us know by liking and subscribing. Okay. Take 2. And our timestamp for this again, 28:17. Cool.
What are you doing here? Well, your brother sent me to pick you up and take you to the school. Oh, I'm pretty busy right now. I can't go. I need to go over the end of the year numbers and make a report.
Okay. Switching on to when it didn't fit. Okay, so this is what we just heard. Play again.
What are you doing here? Well, your brother sent me to pick you up and take you to the school. Oh, I'm pretty busy right now. I can't go. I need to go over the end of the year numbers and make a report.
Okay. I think the general sounds here are very clear. There are a couple little things I want to identify, but I do want to commend you on that first. As always, I do think we have some opportunities to play around with pitch more, because I don't want to say it sounds flat, but I do think we have some opportunities just to add greater contrast. Take some of our highs a little higher, take some of our lows a little lower. Let's take a look at first sentence stuff.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? I think consider what emotion you're trying to convey. Is it just like neutral, or is it like surprise? Or maybe even like frustrated surprise, like maybe you don't want them to be there and you're surprised that they're here. So it's like, what are you doing here? Like, what are you doing here? Or is it just like a general like, oh hey, what are you doing here? It's like I would really kind of consider the emotion of this for this situation, because that will affect the stress that you use, and it will also affect the pitch.
What are you doing here? Well, your brother sent me to pick you up.
Listen to brother.
Well, your brother sent me to pick you up.
Your brother sent me almost like a Boston accent to a degree. Try to get that R a little firmer. I know you're in the UK, but get a little bit more your brother. Well, your brother sent me. And just a quick note too for brother. I know that traditionally it's taught with that TH sound. I mean, a lot of times people are telling you to do TH sounds in all kinds of interesting places. People telling you to put your tongue between your teeth, like brother, where your brother. But that's really hard to say, like brother. So what I would either recommend for brother is either the tongue against your top front tooth, brother, or something that's probably going to help even more and just trying to keep things fluid and loose and connected with lots of breath would be actually having that tip of your tongue against your bottom tooth. It's like brother, well, your brother. So notice it's not really a strong brother. It's more brother. And the reason this works is, again, something that we talk about in the four-step accent, American accent course, is we talk about weakening consonant sounds, because we're more interested in vowel sounds in American English. So by weakening that TH, I can get to that sound a little bit faster. Brother, well, your brother. But besides that, going back to the dialogue here. I guess a little smaller, actually.
Well, your brother sent me to pick you up. And
I want to hear pick.
well, your brother sent me to pick you up.
Pick you up. It does sound to me a little bit like your pick sound has become pick you up versus pick you up. So watching out for a little bit of that short I versus E sound. And this is something that's great for everybody. Make sure you can hear the difference between, for instance, like pick and peak. Can you hear a difference? Pick, peak, pick, peak. We want that first one, pick, P-I-C-K. Peak or P-E-A-K is a different sound, a different word. Okay, so watch out a little bit for that. A short I sound, pick.
Brother sent me to pick you up.
Well, your brother sent me to pick you up.
Brother sent me to pick you up and take you to the school.
Quick note, at least in America, I can't speak to British English, but in American English, it would just be take you to school. In most cases, like 99% of situations, there might be that one situation where you need the, because it's a specific place, but take you to school. Take you to school. Well, your brother sent me to pick you up and take you to school. I think the way that this is currently read,
Pick you up and take you to the school.
and take you to school. Well, your brother sent me
And take you to the school. Send me to pick you up. What are you doing here? Well, your brother sent me to pick you up.
Well, your brother sent me to pick you up. Well, your brother sent me to pick you up
And take
and
you to the school.
take you to school. Well, your brother sent me to pick you up and take you to school. Something about the current pattern that you're using just feels a little bit not like what you hear in conversation, I feel.
Doing here? Well, your brother sent me to pick you up.
Well, your brother sent me to pick you up. Maybe it's because the pitches are a little too similar.
Well, your brother sent me to pick you up.
Brother sent me to pick you up. Brother sent me. Your brother sent me to pick you up. Pick you up. I think it could be that those pitches are so similar to each other. Pick you up versus pick you up. Pick you up. Like maybe whatever your stress is, typically would be up. Pick you up. My brother sent me to pick you up. So up would generally be your stress. So I would expect pick you to maybe go a little lower. Your brother sent me to pick you up. Well, your brother sent me to pick you up. Pick you up. So going maybe a little higher on up, maybe a little lower on pick you.
And take you to the school.
And take you to school. And take you. Want to hear that and take linking?
Pick you up and take you to the school.
And take you.
Take you to the school.
So a little
Send me to
choppy.
pick you up and take you
Take you up and take you up. So you want higher pitch on and. Another option would be actually going a lower pitch on and, because especially because it's not the stress, right? It's just kind of linking one thought group to the next. Well, your brother sent me to pick you up, and notice I went down there, right? Pick you up, and so this is another option. Not say what you did was wrong.
and take you to the school.
Take you to the. Let's imagine for a moment that we're going to keep the.
And take you to the school.
Take you to the.
Take you to the school. To pick you up and take you to the school.
Take you to the school. I think if you keep the, let's again imagine that that's what we're doing. I think a lot of your pitches are very similar to each other. Take you to the school. Take you to the school versus take you to school. Take you to school. So like take you to the school. To the school. So I would maybe try to take, if you're keeping the, lower the pitch on it even more. Take you to the school. Take you to the school. Take you to the school. It's just going to help add some even greater contrast to what you're saying. It's going to sound a little less flat. Okay. Moving on from there.
Oh, I'm pretty busy right now.
Same thing we mentioned earlier with pick, with busy, short I sounds. Okay, so busy, more busy. Okay, a little more short I. Busy.
Pretty busy right now.
Pretty busy right now versus pretty busy right now.
Oh, I'm pretty busy right now.
Pretty busy, pretty busy. I'm pretty busy right now. That's just a note on that one.
Oh, I'm pretty busy right now. I can't.
Pretty busy right now. Again, the pitches are very similar.
Oh, I'm pretty busy right now.
Pretty busy right now. Pretty busy right now. Versus pretty busy right now. I'm pretty busy right now. Oh, I'm pretty busy right now. Whatever you decide to stress, get that higher, and then everything else take lower. So for instance, I'm pretty busy right now. I'd probably stress busy. I'm pretty busy right now. I'm pretty busy right now. It's like busy right now. You can hear it's like 4 steps down, right? Busy right now. I'm pretty busy right now. Hear that difference between the original.
To the school. Oh, I'm pretty busy right now.
Pretty busy right now versus pretty busy right now. So it's adding more contrast.
I can't go
I can't go. I can't go.
right now. I can't go.
I can't go. I can't go. I can't go. I think in general, go would probably be more likely to get the stress, but you could stress can't. It's not wrong. But I probably would do can't. I can't go. I'm sorry, I can't go.
Pretty busy right now. I can't go. I need to go over the end of the year numbers and make a report.
Make a report. And make a report. She's stressing make. I would stress report. In general, something that we see in English is that, if you have like a verb plus an object, typically the stress will fall on the object. It doesn't usually fall on the verb. Verbs, they are content words. That is true. But English in general doesn't like stressing verbs. It generally likes stressing nouns and other words around the verbs. Okay. You certainly can stress verbs, but the general tendency is not to have them receive your emphasis.
Right now. I can't go. I need to go over the end of the year numbers.
I need to go over to end of the year numbers. I actually like this in terms of the pitches and the movement. You can go over to end of the year numbers. That I like what you do in numbers with the rising intonation. Numbers. I need to go over to the end of the year numbers.
I need to go over the end of the year numbers.
You do have some opportunities for linking.
Right now. I can't go. I need to go over the end of the year.
I need the like here. I need to. That's kind of what you're giving me.
I can't go. I need to go over the end of.
I need to go.
I can't go. I need to go over the.
I need to go. I need to go. I'm exaggerating, but you can really hear that T right. Versus like I need to go. I need to go. Need the go. So instead of like need to, more need the need a. I need to go. I need to go. So just try and get the breath kind of flowing a little bit more. T sound maybe becoming more fasty.
Oh, I can't go. I need to go over the end of the year numbers.
End of the year. Oh, that's another little phrase I would kind of take a look at. End of the year. It's the end of the year, more end of the year. Do you hear that? We talked about this earlier with that th, where actually just if your tongue can stay down, it doesn't have to be like of the. It just be end of the year, end of the year. No, so it's not end of the year because that's so choppy, right? It's just end of the year. The. And American English is all about breath. Trying to keep that breath flowing from one sound to the next. So I'll do end of the year numbers. Just another option there for linking.
I need to go over the end of the year numbers and make a report.
Make a report and make a report and make a report. I have to go over the end of the year numbers and make a report and make a report. You can have a lower pitch on that last part, end of the year numbers and make a report. Like you could shift everything lower. Again, your thought group could just operate at a lower pitch, and that's fine. But again, I do think report would be the more likely stress than make. Just some other quick comments. My mom again says that leave out the and stress school. Yeah. So again, the is not necessary, like we mentioned earlier, unless like a very specific situation. Mom also nuts. I was thinking go would be stressed at the end. I can't go. Yeah, like I mentioned as well, that instead of stressing can't is a word. Negatives can be stressed words, but there's also a great chance that the word after it's going to be the stress. So just a note. And my mom also recommends maybe splitting the vowel on go. Like I can't go. Or something like that. That it does convey more emotion. Sounds a little less flat. Okay, but Sycamore, thank you so much for sending that audio file. We do appreciate you. Okay. As we load up our next file, guys, let me know in the chat. How are you doing? What are some things that you have learned so far, just based on the feedback that we have given to other people? If anything, let me know in the chat. Helps me out. And also just very curious. A couple files left. Okay. I see my mom has sent us a file, so let's take a look and see what she has sent us. I think it's a poem by L. Hughes. I'm guessing that's Langston. If you guys enjoy poetry, let me know in the chat. Any poets in the house? And also, guys, there is still time if you're watching this. There is still time to send in pronunciation files. Currently, I see about 3 files left to go, which is great. But we would love to also have your files too, if you're interested in getting your own pronunciation looked at. Okay, taking a look at this one here. That's a long one.
Here's a little poem for you to celebrate Black History Month. It's called Winter Sweetness. It was written by Langston Hughes. Winter Sweetness. This little house is sugar. Its roof with snow is piled, and from its tiny window peeps a maple sugar child. I just love this poem. It's just so touching. I hope you like it too.
Thanks to my mom.
Here's a little poem for you to celebrate Black History Month. It's called Winter Sweetness. It was written by Langston Hughes.
I'm going to focus on the poem itself, just for, again, my mom's a native speaker, but just help you identify some things that she's doing that help her sound natural, that you can apply to your own speech.
Winter Sweetness. This little house is sugar.
So that's, notice that she's stressing little.
Winter Sweetness. This little house is sugar.
Like this little house instead of like this little house. So originally looking at it, it kind of enjoys looks like a 3-word group. Okay. Which in general, when you see those, you would expect the stress to be a little bit on the first word, heavier stress on the last word. Like for instance, like nice old man, or like little blue bus. But in this case, she's kind of inverted it by putting stress on little, and that's fine. You can certainly do that. What that does is it adds even extra emphasis onto little. It kind of disrupts the pattern for your listener, and so it can help draw even more attention to what you're saying. Shilk makes a note that you enjoy poetry, which is great.
Its roof with snow is piled.
Roof with snow is piled. So notice here, so we have a lot of stresses here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words, and half of the words are stressed. And this is something that, again, we see a lot of people who learn English tend to do, is they tend to have a lot of stresses. But I think this is a demonstration of how you can take a phrase that has multiple stresses and still make it sound natural. There's a couple things that are being done here.
Langston Hughes. Winter Sweetness. This little house is sugar. Its roof with snow is piled.
Its roof. So again, with three stresses, so we have three thought groups. We have its roof, and then we're going to shift the pitch.
And from it is sugar. Its roof with snow is
Its roof. So we're high. Now we're going to drop with snow. With snow. Okay, so we went its roof. Okay, that was our first thought group. And then we dropped down in pitch with snow. And then notice that we did go lower in pitch, but snow has a very different stress than what we saw with roof. So it makes it stand out more.
This little house is sugar. Its roof with snow is
Its roof with snow. It's almost like a fall rise intonation. Snow versus its roof. Its roof. So the first stress in that first thought group, the roof had a rising intonation. Its roof. But then in the second thought group, the pattern disrupts. We're at a lower pitch, and then our stressed word is using a slightly different intonation pattern. This adds contrast. It keeps your listener engaged with you as you're talking. Because if you're like, it's roof with snow, that starts getting into it sounds too similar. We want to disrupt the pattern. So what she's doing there is playing with the intonation, and she's playing with the pitch of that whole thought group.
piled.
And then the last thought group does the same sort of thing.
This little house is sugar. Its roof with snow is piled.
With snow is piled. So we get that heavy falling intonation on piled, but at the same time, that last thought group is also at an even lower pitch. Its roof with snow is piled. Its roof with snow is piled. So again, each of those thought groups is doing something that's very different than the thought group that came before it. And this is how you can have lots of stresses in a short sequence, but still make it sound natural. We want to make sure we're adding enough contrast to everything that we're saying.
Sugar. Its roof with snow is piled. And from its tiny window peeps
Notice, okay, so from its tiny window peeps. So notice that we see that comma on window. And this is another thing that I think separates a lot of non-native English learners versus native speakers, is that a lot of times English learners, when they see punctuation, when they see commas or periods or things like that, the sentence ends, a new sentence begins. That's where the thought groups tend to stop. I say a sentence, I stop the sentence, I breathe, then I say my next sentence. But if you listen to native speakers, what they tend to do, those places where you would use periods or those places where you would use commas, oftentimes native speakers they're not breaking, they're continuing. Okay, so thought groups don't have to end with commas, they don't have to end with periods. They may extend a word or two words and things like that. And you can hear that with peeps. Notice that after window, it continues to peeps.
sugar. Its roof with snow is piled. And from its tiny window peeps
The thought group ends on peeps. From its tiny window, peeps. Thought group ends.
maple sugar child.
Maple sugar child. So this is maple sugar child. This is another 3-word group. Okay, so we have maple, then we have sugar, then we have child. So this works more like a typical 3-word group where the first word, maple, gets a little bit of stress. Sugar is going to go down in pitch a little bit. And then child's going to go back up in pitch a little bit. Okay, so notice it's again going to sound something like maple sugar child.
And from its tiny window peeps a maple sugar child.
Maple sugar child. Okay, so just some things there. But yeah, those are just some quick things you can pick up on from, again, my mom. Thanks to my mom. Clap it up for all the moms in the house. If you're a mom, let me know. But yeah, thanks to her for sending that file. Hopefully you guys found that helpful as you take this to your own speech and things. All right, but again, maybe you're just checking us out for the first time. I want to just take a quick moment to introduce myself. Hi, so my name is Jeff. I am here with Fluent American, which is a website that is dedicated to giving you pronunciation resources to sound more natural in American English. This is the Schwa Mill. This is our Saturday show, normally at a different time. Normally it's at 1:30 p.m., which you can see in the ticker below. when it passes. Notice at 1:30 p.m. New York time, where we basically listen to your pronunciation files and give suggestions to help you achieve a more natural accent, help you craft your accent together. And again, you can see that people have sent us pronunciation files, which means that you can also send us pronunciation files too. We're always looking for new ones, new folks to join us on our journey towards a more natural accent. This is the site where you'll want to send in your files. Okay. And is where you want to be. This is the Google Doc. It's the same document every single time, guys. It's the same document every single time. You can also go to the video description for this link. And once you're there, it's going to direct you to a site called Vocaroo.com. Vocaroo.com lets you record yourself. It then gives you a link. You post the link in our document, and then we'll be able to hear you and get you rolling with some pronunciation feedback. And again, we do this every single Saturday. It'd be great to hear from you. But beyond that, I see we have 2 files left here. I'm going to take a look at Marcos. An interesting quote, Marcos. Okay. Again, you can send me things you wish. Just try to keep it clean. Okay, let's take a listen to... Oh, I need to share my audio. That would be helpful. Checking myself. Always checking myself. I also need to make sure I add the timestamp. That is something that does tend to get forgotten. So we are currently at 51:18, which means you guys have spent almost an hour of your Saturday night, at least U.S. time, studying American English pronunciation. Who does that on a Saturday? You guys dedicated. Appreciate you. If you're already in the future, appreciate you in the future too. All right, let's take a listen to this.
There are so many women with whom you can sleep, and so few women with whom you can talk.
Okay. The very first thing I'm going to tell you is I think we have some opportunities to play around with stress more to make this sound a little bit more emphatic.
There are so many women with whom you can sleep, and so few women with whom you can talk.
Okay, just a quick grammar note. That first word probably should not be they. It's probably there. It's like there's so many women. And there's so many options with stress. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about stress, but also the frustrating things is that there's not really a wrong or a right answer. A lot comes down to context, and a lot also comes down to the emotion you're trying to convey. So right now, the words that I hear you stressing.
There are so many women with whom you can sleep.
Women in sleep? There are so many women with whom you can sleep. Okay. Options. You could have just stressed so. There are so many women with whom you can sleep. Yeah. So many women with whom you can sleep. You could also keep the stress on sleep. But you know, I think depending again on the emotion you're trying to convey here, so is very commonly stressed. I will say that. You know, because it's not even, you didn't have to say so, or like the person saying this quote didn't have to use so, but they did. So when it appears, it is a word that tends to receive a lot of heavy emphasis. So that's personally where I would recommend putting the stress. It's not always stressed, so again, you don't necessarily have to put it there. You could keep it on women, but that is the place where I personally would kind of recommend.
There are so many women with whom you can sleep.
I would say on sleep, the placement does go a little high. You can feel how tense it is, like sleep, versus like e. Can you hear that difference between e and e? Now, there's a couple of reasons why this may be happening. It could be that your e sound by itself has a high placement, so I would just make sure you can say e. And if you're not familiar with the concept of placement, this is again something that we do talk about as part of our 4-step video course. Okay, which again you can find at fluentamerican.com. It's one of the 4 steps is placement. But placement is essentially like take like an e sound, like whatever sounds natural to you. So maybe you're doing something like e, and then just try to take that down like 5 times, like e, 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 e. You know, can you hear that difference between that last one, e, and that first one, e, like e, e, e. So one of the big differences between American English and a lot of other languages is the placement in American English tends to be lower Generally, American English likes those E ones, doesn't like that E one as much. The other big difference is also going to be breath. So it sounds to me like we're not allowing a whole lot of air to pass through, which is a common issue that occurs with higher placements. Is again doing like E, 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 like where everything's kind of tense in the back of my mouth, top of my throat. It's very tense with the muscles blocking off a lot of air. And again, in general, American English wants lots of breath to pass through. So I'm going to try to open up. So instead E, more E, just trying to get that air to continuously flow. Okay. So going back to sleep. So the issue could just be the E sound. Okay, so just make sure you can get an E with a low placement and an open breath. And if you can't, then that's something to practice. E, E. But if you feel like you're doing that okay, but still having an issue with sleep, then the next step would be let's add a consonant before it. So like, for instance, can you do like E, Lee, E, Lee? In fact, I would recommend the dark L sound where the tip of your tongue is actually down against the bottom of your mouth. Let me see if you can, let me make myself big so you can see me. I'm gonna move this again for like sleep. So again, can you do like E, Lee, E, Lee, E, Lee? I don't know if you can see it or not see it, but the tongue is like staying down here. You're not seeing my tongue flap up. It's not E, slee, E, slee. Do you hear that? That's with my tongue making contact up top against my alveolar ridge. I'm trying to keep my tongue down here. E, Lee, E, Lee. Can you hear the difference between Lee and Lee? Hear that difference. So I would recommend for sleep, trying to keep the tongue down. Okay. Also, again, placement. Placement is not just for vowel sounds; it's for consonants as well. So, like when you're saying that l sound, make sure you're not doing like l. Do you hear how much higher my placement is now? Suddenly, I'm projecting like right around here, but I want to be projecting lower. I want to feel my diaphragm. Okay, so instead of saying slee, more slee. Okay, so just practicing that. The other thing is then add the final consonants like slee, sleep. Make sure you're not doing E up, like slee up. It's sleep. We don't want our E sound to shift right before our final consonants. Just a final note there. Going back to our screen.
With whom you can sleep. There are so many women with whom you can sleep.
With whom you can sleep, like with whom you can. I would also play around with pitches a little bit here because I think you're going a little higher. With whom you can, versus like with whom you can sleep. So like trying to go down, 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 down. With whom you can, and then going up on sleep if that's the stress you want. With whom you can sleep. So I would play around with that. With whom you can sleep. Okay. And take a look in the second half of this.
And so few women with whom you can talk.
So many women with whom you can sleep, and so few women with whom you can talk. Again, you have an opportunity to, again, maybe potentially stress so.
Sleep. And so few women with
So few women.
whom you can talk.
So few women with whom you can talk. So few, so many women with whom you can sleep, and so few women with whom you can talk. Again, talking about stress, my mom gives a suggestion maybe emphasizing many and then few. I think that can work. Like so many, there's so many. To me, that's a little tricky because I feel like it's easier for me personally to put it on so than many. But there are so many women. There's so many women with whom you can sleep. There's so many women. I feel like so would be more common. But I do think few can work on the second one. And my mom knows as to contrast. Something I would add to the contrast further, though, I would argue, is that I think a lot of times, so we have parallel structure, right? Parallel structure basically means that we have a situation where one half of the sentence is doing one thing, the second half of the sentence is doing the same sort of pattern, right? So many, this, so few, that. Okay, that sort of pattern is parallel structure. I think something that we see a lot with parallel structure in English is that the stress changes. So, for instance, if the first time, if I stress so, the second time I might stress few, like so many women with whom you can sleep and so few women with whom you can talk. You know, Whereas I think the very first reaction is to stress the same type of word, like so many women, so few women. I think a lot of people, especially language learners, tend to do that. It's predictable. And in general, I feel like English doesn't like predictability. It likes contrast. It likes things to stand out more. So that's one of the reasons why I would maybe do so on the first one and then few on the second one. So few women with whom you can talk.
And so few women with whom you can talk.
So few women. I probably wouldn't stress women.
Few women with
So few women. I wouldn't stress women there. And I do feel like I'm hearing you stress women, but I wouldn't do that because we already have the first half of the sentence. We already know that you're talking about women. So by adding that stress there, it makes it sound like it sounds like it's new information, but it's not. You've already told me this. So I probably wouldn't stress women on that second half. I would either stress so or few, personally.
and so few women with whom you can talk.
I probably wouldn't stress whom, and it sounds kind of like you're stressing whom.
Women with whom you can talk.
With whom you can talk. It makes it really punchy, right? With whom you can talk. I probably wouldn't stress that whom, though. It's going to let you flow a little more. So few women with whom you can talk. So few women with whom you can talk. Do you hear by removing that stress on whom, I'm just able to flow a lot more. Okay. I just want to listen again for vowel sounds besides sleep and consonants and linking. And my mom knows that, yeah, stressing the first so and then stressing few on the second half sounds good to her. Thanks to my mom for sharing that.
There are so many women with whom you can sleep, and so few women with whom you can talk.
Yeah, those are kind of my main comments there. If you have any questions about that, Marcos, please let me know. But thank you so much for sending that file. I do appreciate you. Okay. Guys, we are approaching the final file of the night, which is wild. 1 hour in, which is cool. 101. 50 for our final file. And again, just a quick reminder, we have so many opportunities. Once this stream ends, we don't have to. And working together, so many opportunities we can kind of get things going. So for instance, again, we have YouTube videos. We have our Telegram group. We have Mission English, which again is basically 30-minute live streams twice a day, Monday through Friday. That's a lot. I'm just seeing people all the time in the group, which is great, because I think the other thing too that's nice about Mission English is that, again, here's the schedule for Mission English, is how often we meet. Okay, so again, all these are live stream times. All the classes are saved in the group as well, so you can see all past classes. There's like over 100 in there right now. So you join, you already get 100 classes, maybe closing on 200 marks soon. But pronunciation is one of those things that you need to study every day. Just a little bit every day. 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day. But it's hard. It's tricky. It's very easy to kind of set aside to the evening, and then you're tired, and then you sleep. You're like, oh, I'll just study it tomorrow. It's so easy to happen. That's part of the reason why we do Mission English, because it's just constantly rewatching. I mean, it's just constantly, getting that constant reminder, like, hey, let's study pronunciation together. Let's do it. And you're in a group, so there's other people, you get to know each other. I do want to kind of give you just a quick idea of what the group actually kind of looks like. So just kind of show you what it's like. So again, this is Mission English. Sometimes the audio comes in a little hot, just a note, but check this out. Ooh, ooh. Notice that for me, I'm not really having that ooh, ooh. And it doesn't sound exactly the same, like ooh and ooh, but they're close enough that for the speech that you're doing in daily life, it'll be okay. Really nice day.
Really nice day.
So what I'm hearing, I heard really nice day. So what happened was you put day at a lower pitch. Really nice day.
Just loose.
Okay. I would say, I thought for the most part it sounded pretty good. I think there were a couple words that we do want to watch out for a little bit. Hey. Yeah, there you go. That last one's great. So again, 18 classes was in the past, but now we guarantee at least 30 classes per month in our Mission English program. And besides that, we also again have our Telegram group, which again is just, you join Telegram, $5 a month, get you access to the group. And every single day, there's just quick phrases, quick words to say. And then I and my assistant, Lenora, we listen to you and we give you suggestions. So again, just some quick pronunciation practice every single day of the week. If that sounds like it's something you're interested in, all these things are available at fluentamerican.com. Okay, our last file for today is from Emmanuel. I'm sure, Emmanuel, you just want to say hello, because I'm sure you'll listen to this in the morning. Here is his text. Want me to share my screen again? Okay, so here is the full text for what we're about to witness. Lack of a better word. Let's take a listen.
Shock value can be useful. It gets you to think. It gets you to reflect on the point of the story. Like, why did it end that way? Or what are they trying to tell me? Shock value often has audiences leave thinking about the story more versus not.
Okay. General lots of things here. Again, I feel like the breath is staying consistently flowing, which is always great. I think the placement's staying generally pretty low. There are a couple of vowel sounds I want to identify. But let's begin with the first part.
Shock value can be useful.
Dark L sounds a little bit. Listen to value.
Shock value can
Value. It sounds like the tip of your tongue went high. Make some contact with the ridge up top. I would say, hey, can we get more dark L? Maybe tip of your tongue down. Back your tongue a little high. Value, like shock value. Shock value. Can you hear that difference between mine and yours?
be useful. Shock value can
Value versus value. Okay. Same thing also with useful.
be useful.
Useful. I do think I'm getting just a little more air through on the fall sound. So again, all fall. Anyways, in our Mission English program, we've been working a lot on dark L's the last couple weeks.
Value can be useful. It gets you to think.
I don't hear gets.
Can be useful. It gets you to think.
It gets versus like it gets you to think. It gets you to think. So I would like the placement to be just a little lower on that sound. If you do like gets, it gets. Gets. It gets you to think. Gets you to think.
It gets you to think. Be useful. It gets you to think.
I do like your linking, gets you to think. It gets you to think. Gets you to think. Because notice it's not gets you to think. Because that's kind of hard to say. Gets you to think or gets you to think. Versus it gets you to think. That's just going to allow you to flow a lot more. So I do like your linking and reductions there.
It gets you to reflect on the point of the story. Be useful. It gets you to think. It gets you to reflect on the
same thing there with that gets. I do think the placement's a little high on gets. And get you to
point of the story. Like, why did it end that way?
Like, why did it end that way? I like that.
Like, why did it end that way?
Maybe you could even get that I sound on Y a little more open.
The story. Like, why did it end that way?
Why did it versus why did it? So again, just a little more open on that I sound on Y.
Way. Or like, why did it end that way?
Why did it end? I would have reduced, and again, this is just my own personal style. I would have reduced way more. That why did it end that way? Why did it end that way?
Like, why did it end that way?
I feel like I hit end that way versus end that way. Like that way, both of those words are probably going to be pretty reduced. I don't imagine, if you're shadowing this, I don't imagine that those words are stressed. I'm just a note.
Story. Like, why did it end that way?
Like, why did it end that? Yeah, just opening up why there is just going to really help that whole section feel a lot more open.
Or what are they trying to tell me?
Let's listen to that. What are they?
Like, why did it end that way? Or
that's a really good R sound. Or lots of breath coming through.
What are they trying to tell me?
The what are they?
Like, why did it end that way? Or what are they trying to tell me? Like, why did it end that way? Or what are they trying to tell me?
What are they? Let me hear the what are they again.
Or what are they trying?
What are they? I would maybe just hold the A sound on they. We're talking milliseconds here, but just a little bit longer just to get that vowel.
Why did it end that way? Or what are they trying to tell me?
What are they? What are they trying? What are they trying? Just just slight lengthening on the A sound on the they. But in general, pretty good. Lots of reductions, lots of linking.
Or what are they trying to tell me?
I think you're reducing a little bit your E sound on me, becoming like me, versus tell me. What are you trying to tell me?
What are they trying to tell me?
Tell me. So again, that E sound, words that end on an E, and this is true for some of the people watching this, just make sure when your word ends on an E, commonly with like a Y at the end or something like that, like happy or lucky, you just want to make sure it's staying sharp enough.
Or what are they trying to tell me? Shock value often has audiences leave.
Someone notes that we mentioned earlier with shock value with the value.
Shock value often
Value versus value. So here, the dark L again, I would try to keep the tongue down. Also try to hold that oo sound because it feels like it's getting slightly reduced.
shock value often
Value, shock value. Still need the oo sound. Okay, so don't reduce that vowel too much.
has audiences leave thinking about the story more versus not. Shock value often has audiences leave thinking about the story more
That's good R sound on more.
versus not.
It could be a little more open on not versus not. I said not, more not versus not. Shock value often has audiences leave thinking about the story more versus not. I'm kind of wondering if more was stressed heavier. If again this is shadowing because that is an opportunity to stress more. Shock value often has audiences leave thinking about the story more versus not. Like says something like that. But I mean, those are kind of just my first initial reactions to this. Overall, good job with the linking and reductions. Continue watching out for those dark L sounds. The sound again, like in gets, and final E sounds a little bit. So, for instance, we saw again on me trying to tell me. Okay. Also on the oo sound, it's like shock value. It's a value. Okay. Those are my major comments there. Well, guys, that looks like it's our final file. Okay, so if you're watching this in the future, thank you. Oh, just a quick note also from my mom. Man has been working on the linking. I've noticed improvement with that. Yes, he has. He's been doing great. He loves his linking and reductions. Who doesn't? Why wouldn't you? So again, that concludes this episode of the Schwa Mill, where again, every Saturday, we help you craft your accent. We'll be back at next week. My plan is at the original regular time, 1:30 p.m. New York. So if we did not get to your pronunciation file today, or you just didn't send one, my apologies, but we hope to hear from you soon. And if you're a lurker, maybe this is your first time watching the stream, just say hey. Just leave a little comment, whether you're in the chat right now or watching this on the replay. Just let us know, hey, it's my first time here. Also, some quick reminders if you want to help out with the stream, some things you can do, liking it, and if you know other people learning American English or interested in pronunciation, send this to them. Let them know that we do this, and we would love to hear from them in the future. Once more, my name is Jeff. This has been the Schwa Mill with Fluent American, where again, every Saturday we help you craft your accents. I wish you guys a good rest of your weekend, and we will talk soon. Have a good day, have a good night, a good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me, and take care. Thanks, Mom. Leaving a comment. Goodbye. Take care, guys.